This is a mess here, y'all. Y'all remember when I told y'all, I said I'm going to sit down in front of my computer, okay, like I'm doing right now. And I told y'all I'm going to bring you this next story. That's exactly what I'm doing. Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for supporting me here. I'm Andrea from Andrea Speaks TV, back to bring you news and commentary you can use. Listen, y'all. We know right now at the time of this video, we're going into the holiday week, Thanksgiving holiday for those who celebrate, or for those who not so much dwell on what history has taught us about the day, but you use the day to come together in fellowship with family, friends, loved ones. This is a week where a lot of people are realizing, even at the grocery store, hey, food is becoming unaffordable. Why is food so high? We talk about all these things, right? And in the midst of all that going on, y'all, okay, what I want to come on and talk about today is, do you know it has been announced, okay, New York City. You all know I spent some time in New York City over the summer. New York City, okay, the mayor of New York City, let me be specific, right, and I'll talk about him in a minute. He has announced, okay, budget cuts. I'm going to talk about some more specifics. Budget cuts are coming to New York City due to what is being said, allegedly, billions of dollars that have been spent on what? The migrant crisis. Yes, you heard it right. Go ahead and sit down. I'm going to tell you all about it, okay? Now, New York City, okay, New York City on Thursday, just this past Thursday, announced it is reducing police numbers. Listen to this, y'all. I want you to sit down and listen to this, okay? New York City, according to my sources, on Thursday, announced it is reducing police numbers and cutting budgets in areas like education as it continues to struggle with what the article refers to, as exorbitant. Okay, if I say that word right, EXORBITANT, exorbitant costs related to and it says in quotation marks, sanctuary cities migrant crisis. So basically, automatically, what I'm hearing from this is due to, and I actually got to read a little bit more into it and hear some thoughts that were shared due to what they're saying is billions of dollars, billions of dollars spent on the migrant crisis, as well as, okay, they also attributed an end to COVID-19 relief. They're saying that they're now, okay, the people of New York City, the residents, the taxpaying citizens in New York City, right, they're now going to have to face some very steep budget cuts, okay? I even got an email. Well, I'll talk about that in just a minute, y'all. Okay, listen. Mayor Eric Adams, okay, he's the mayor of New York City. He has announced a $110.5 billion budget, okay, saying cuts across all agencies were necessary, with the city having spent $1.45 billion. $1.45 billion, y'all, in fiscal year 2023 on the migrant crisis, and nearly $11 billion to be spent in 2024 and 2025. Now, 2024 is a month away, something like that, a little over a month away, or maybe I should say just a little shy of 2 months away. And we haven't even gotten to, excuse me, y'all, we haven't even gotten to 2025 yet. So they're already anticipating that more money will be spent around this migrant crisis, okay? Listen, Mayor Eric Adams had this to say, and I quote, "For months we have warned New Yorkers about the challenging fiscal situation our city faces," Mayor Adams said in a statement. He said, "To balance the budget as the law requires, every city agency dug into their own budget to find savings with minimal disruptions to service," okay? And he went on to say, "And while we pulled it off this time, make no mistake, migrant costs are going up. Tax revenue growth is slowing, and the C word, okay, pandemic stimulus funding is drying up." Listen to what's being said, y'all, okay? Now, think about everything that's going on. I don't know if you've ever been in New York City. I have twice, right? Over the summer was my most recent time. It's even documented here on the channel if you want to go and look at some of the videos that I did. But New York City, I believe, is is the largest city here in the United States, most populated. So many different streets, so many different restaurants, so many different people. So much to do there, right? Now, I remember in my time being there over the summer, I remember seeing and hearing police sirens and things like that. So let's talk about this one budget cut that really has me concerned. Now you may say, well, Andrea, why should I continue to watch this video? You're talking about something that's happening in New York City. I'm in Georgia. You may be in a different state. You may not even be in this state that I'm talking about. But I want to tell you, and I want to just let you know, even though it may not be happening in your area, I feel like we all need to be concerned because as, you know, how do I want to say this? As, you know, all of us, okay, even in where I am, right, in Georgia, could somehow be impacted by the migrant crisis. But what I'm telling you is pay attention, because who's to say that this may or may not happen in your local community, okay? Now, speaking of, as I was saying, the New York Police Department, the NYPD. Now, in this budget cut, y'all, listen to this, and has a lot of people shocked. This is just one part of it, okay? The New York Police Department, right, NYPD, will freeze. Listen to this, y'all. Think about everything that's going on in the world, how chaotic it seems sometimes. Different things are happening, right? According to my sources, the New York Police Department will freeze hiring to bring numbers below 30,000 by the end of fiscal year 2025 from over 33,000. There will also be deep cuts to education, including the universal pre-kindergarten program, which I hear some parents are already speaking out about that, according to another source, and sanitation. Okay, now I could kind of, not so much education. I went over the summer, so I didn't really get to interact with the schools or see how the New York city schools, I may have it wrong what it's called, but the public education system is up there. I can't really speak on that. However, I can speak on, I feel like, just based on what I saw in my observations, the police department, I definitely don't feel like, and especially at a time like this, that they need to be cutting back on the New York Police Department, police officers, men and women in uniform, sanitation. Now, I'm going to tell you all, they have it's a very particular sanitation schedule that they have. I think it's like twice a week. People have to park. If you are familiar with living in New York City or traveling to New York City, you know how it is parking on some of the streets. You have to move your car from the left side of the street on these days between these hours because they're coming through collecting trash, sweeping the streets. So, there's a lot of trash. Now, New York City is a beautiful place, so much to do, beautiful people there, very friendly people. Although, they're up north and, it can be said that they don't have the southern hospitality that, maybe you're used to seeing in the South. I met some very nice people there, very friendly people. They treated myself, my family well. What I'm saying is this, y'all. New York City, okay, if you've never been, or for those who have been, I'm pretty sure you will agree that the streets can be very dirty, right? Food, trash, other items that are there. We also know that they have very big rats there, right? Why would they want to cut back? With all this going on, right? Why would they want to cut back on sanitation? I don't understand that either. Now, the pre-kindergarten program, I may do that in a separate video, but some parents are speaking out about that. Now, Mayor Adams, okay, New York City mayor, he has also appealed for more help from Washington. He had this to say, and I quote, "No city should be left to handle a national humanitarian crisis," that's what he's calling it, "largely on its own. And without the significant and timely support we need from Washington, D.C., today's budget will only be the beginning." Now, listen, what happened when the people, for example, the people of Texas, they were calling out for help and resources, okay? Were their needs met? Okay, people, for whatever reason, crossing the border over into their state, they were once pleading for help from Washington. Were they met with open arms and help or assistance, or were they met with opposition? Okay, let me know your thoughts on that, y'all. Now, my information also goes on to say that the announcement of a police hiring freeze drew condemnation from the police union, which said it could put public safety in jeopardy. Hello, y'all. Hello. Why would you cut back on the police force in New York City? That I just do not understand, okay? A police union, the president of the police union had this to say, and I quote, "This is truly a disaster for every New Yorker who cares about safe streets. Cops are already stretched to our breaking point, and these cuts will return," listen to this, y'all, "and these cuts will return us to staffing levels we haven't seen since the crime epidemic." This is exactly what it says, y'all. "Since the crime epidemic of the 80s and 90s. So it almost seemed like, and I hate to say this, it almost seemed like they're trying to set New York City up for some type of failure. It's very concerning, this news that's coming out of New York City, okay? This person went on to say, and I quote, "We cannot go back there. We need every level of government to work together to find a way to support police officers and protect New York City's 30 years of public safety progress." Okay, I know when I was, you like I said, anywhere you go, you always got to have your head on swivel. You got to pay attention to your surroundings. We were in what I feel like was a great area of New York, Harlem to be exact. And I felt like it was a safe place, okay? Now, the teachers union, it says, was similarly critical of the cuts to education. Let's talk about this, y'all. Here's a quote from the United Federation of Teachers president, who had this to say, and I quote, "Rather than protect our public schools, City Hall proposes to cut overall funding, and on top of that, is making good on another threat by clawing back," listen to this, y'all, $109 million from city classrooms. They're going to take away $109 million from public education, the students of New York City public school system. How are the parents feeling about that? How are the teachers feeling about that? Okay. They're also saying that means 653 schools, 43% of them school system will be hit now with mid-year budget cuts. Okay. Meaning class sizes will rise and school communities will be needlessly, they're saying, damaged. Okay. The cuts are the latest consequence. My sources says the cuts are the latest consequence of a migrant crisis the city has been tackling since last year. Now, while it has been exacerbated, my sources say, by buses sent to the city by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who began busing migrants to, they call them sanctuary cities, as the migrant crisis escalated. That only makes up a fraction of more than 110,000 migrants the city says have come in since last year. Abbott says that Texas has just sent over 23,000 migrants to New York City. Now, y'all, I'm wondering, knowing this information, I'm wondering, is Mayor Adams going to try to maybe accuse and say, hey, it also is the fault of Texas, allegedly, because they sent so many migrants there, okay? New York City, along with other jurisdictions, including Massachusetts and Chicago. Y'all see I have some videos talking about the migrant crisis in Chicago. I'll probably link it at the end of this video. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out, okay? They're all calling for additional federal help with the numbers they are seeing. Adams has been particularly loud in his calls, warning that the crisis could, and I quote, destroy New York City. And that's what I'm saying, y'all. Now, ironically, he's saying this, right? But when you think about it, okay, they're cutting back the police force. They haven't seen those low levels of police since the 80s and the 90s when there was a crime epidemic, okay? If there was a crime epidemic going on then, why would you want to do anything like similar to like what was going on back then if that is not something that you want to see happen in the very present? It's very concerning, okay? Education, okay? Teachers, classrooms, parents, everyone is going to go through some type of hardship, making, class. Obviously, y'all, that's going to put some type of strain on the education system, whether it's with teaching, dealing with students, just trying to get them to show up to school, trying to get teachers to show up to school, hiring. That's going to just affect things all around. The sanitation, there are millions and millions on top of millions of people in New York City. Cutting back on sanitation just seemed like that would just create just another big mess, literally, right? Even the libraries, okay? I received an email. Let me see if I can pull it up really quickly. I received an email from the New York Public Library System, and they were talking about the budget cuts And they were actually informing me that because I signed up, to get emails and things like that from the information from the library. I actually visited a library there during my time, and I signed up for a library card. So, but it was temporary. I think if I go back, I can get it renewed, I believe. But they gave me like a short library membership type of thing. So let me see if I can log in real quick. But they have started to notify their library card holders. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Just a minute. Okay. Thank you all so much. Listen, y'all, while I'm doing this, make sure you like this video. Share this video. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Okay, here's the topic. The title of the video says, the title of the email that I received from the New York Public Library. It says the NYPL, that's short for New York Public Library, service impacts due to city budget cuts. Okay. And then it goes on to say that the New York Public Library deeply regrets to announce that due to the first of several proposed mid-year city budget cuts to New York City libraries, we must eliminate Sunday service at all New York Public Library locations that currently offer it. So in other words, for the library locations that are open on Sundays, they're going to get rid of that. Okay. On November 26th, 2023 will be the last day of Sunday service at the following New York Public Library locations. Okay. The Bronx Library Center, that's in Bronx. Grand Concourse in the Bronx. Parkchester, Bronx. Jefferson Market, that's in Manhattan. The Stavros Niarchos Foundation Library in SNFL, that's in Manhattan. The Stephen A. Schwarzman Building in Manhattan. Washington Heights in Manhattan. And the Todd Hill Westerly in Staten Island. Okay. Additionally, the email says that I received from the New York Public Library says, additionally, these budget cuts also mean we must reduce spending on library materials, programming, and building maintenance and repairs. Any further cuts will result in even deeper service impact. So, I know the time that we were there, we were in the Schomburg Center, which is in Harlem. There were a lot of people there taking advantage of resources there, whether checking out books, using the computer, whatever it was, but participating in the different programs and activities that they have at the library. So again, they're taking away a community resource. Okay. And I talked about this in the Chicago video that I covered about the migrant crisis. They're taking away community resources due to allegedly what they're saying is a migrant crisis. Is all of this fair, in your opinion? Is all of this fair to the people of New York City? Okay. The tax-paying citizens of New York City. I want to know your thoughts. Okay. Even the families, the men, women, and children of New York City. Is it fair to them? Now, the email concludes by saying, we know this is such disappointing news to the many New Yorkers who rely on the vital resources we provide. I just said that. Especially after the overwhelming response we received from so many during our #No Cuts to Libraries campaign last spring. We will continue to advocate for our libraries and keep you posted on our efforts to restore funding. Okay, stay tuned. Then they put a link, visit our website for the latest updates and for more information about these service changes. Thank you for your continued support, the New York Public Library. Okay. So just to kind of share about that. Now, they're also saying, y'all, that the Biden administration has pointed to more than $770 million it has given out to support communities taking in migrants in the last year and recommendations its team of experts have made. Okay. Do you think that now with all of this going on and the budget cuts, do you think they're going to now allocate even more money to help with the migrant crisis? And if they do, is that fair? Okay. Where do you feel like, if you don't feel like it's fair, where do you, or how, or where do you feel like that money should be spent? Okay. Let me see what else they're saying, y'all. The administration, it says, is requesting, let's see. Okay, let me go back. It says it has also deployed personnel to help with authorizing work permits and to educate migrants on the immigration system. A DHS official said, I believe that's Department of Homeland Security. Okay. The administration has also requested an additional $14 billion in emergency funding for border operations, which includes an additional $1.4 billion in grants to help local governments and nonprofits. Okay. However, the crisis at the border continues. There were more than 249,000 migrant encounters in October, coming after a fiscal year with a record 2.4 million encounters at the border, y'all. Okay. Let me know your thoughts on this, y'all. This is very concerning. Let me see if I can pull up an article really quickly about the New York parents in the pre-K program. I saw some information about that as well. I just want to share. Let's see. Budget cuts. Okay, here it is right here. So this information just came out yesterday. It says, Brooklyn parents rally against Mayor Adams' budget cuts, threatening pre-K and 3K programs, okay? Brooklyn parents, the article says, are mobilizing against New York City Mayor Eric Adams' proposed budget cuts to the Department of Education, which will weaken the beloved pre-K and 3K programs across the city, okay? One parent was quoted as saying, I don't know what we would do without pre-K. The programs were major accomplishments, the article says, under the de Blasio administration, but landing a spot in a classroom was difficult then and would be even more so now, okay? Sometimes they do it through, I believe, a lottery system where, you know, they those who meet the criteria, they're randomly picked. But now it seems like with the budget cuts, it may be an even more delayed process or, you know, harder to get in, okay? One parent was quoted as saying you have to strategize years and years ahead of when you're actually going to turn 3 years old to even have a chance at getting into a school you want, okay? That's what the parent said. Now, the proposed cuts, okay, we're talking about the pre-K, 3K program, will reportedly lessen the Department of Education budget by $547 million. Of that, at least $120 million will be stripped away, the article says, from pre-K and 3K programs, impacting at least 10,000 children, y'all. This is something else to hear, right? Dozens of parents and would-be parents have now formed a new organization called, you can do your research on this, New Yorkers United for Childcare, to fight against these cuts. The launch party took place on Saturday at the Bell House in Gowanus with face painting and games, okay? Babies also sported onesies that read, I want free childcare, okay? One person who is the co-founder of the group said, and I quote, data has shown that universal programs make a huge difference for all families. They found that the lack of affordable childcare is a big reason why families leave New York City, okay? Someone was also quoted saying, we don't make a ton of money, but we make enough to live on, and we go a lot further, especially for daycare costs outside of the city limits. Now, if you haven't been to New York City, millions of apartments there. So I would assume, right, that many of those, most who live in New York City, right, could be renters. Okay, I don't have the exact figures on that, but what I'm saying is, based on my observation, there were more townhomes, apartments, condos versus single family homes. Okay. So what I'm saying is, we all know what's happening with inflation, the price of rent. People are paying more. To have some of these things taken away from them at a time like this is creating a crisis, is what is happening. And, you know, these parents, they have a right to speak out about things concerning their children. They're even saying in the article concludes, or one of the points of the article concludes by saying they hope their efforts not only strengthen funding for the pre-K and 3K programs, but also make what they're saying free childcare for children under They hope their efforts not only strengthen funding for the pre-K and 3K programs, but also make free childcare for children under 5 years old a reality for all families, okay? Listen, the budget cuts, the article says, will begin to go into effect immediately, but will head to the city council for approval next week, okay? So I'm going to follow up with this story and let you all know what the city council decide, okay? What are your thoughts on this? I want to hear from you. If you took time to watch this video, listen, thank you. I appreciate you so much. But I would appreciate you even more, right, if you take time and leave me a comment. I want to know your thoughts. This is hard to hear, right? Imagine if this happened in your community, okay? You're a taxpaying citizen in your community. You do know when you pay taxes, right? Portions of your taxes go towards the school system in different areas, right? Imagine. And like like I said, y'all, I'm not trying to say people don't deserve help, because at the end of the day, there is a sense of humanitarian duty, right? I say that in every video when I talk about this. But what I'm saying is, don't neglect the people, taxpaying citizens, born and raised here. Don't neglect people. Don't take away from people in such a way to where it continues to make a hardship on them. But then some people say, you know what, Andrea, it's all by design. But listen, I want to know your thoughts. I want to hear from you, okay? Thank you so much for supporting the channel, y'all. Again, New York City budget cuts. This is creating a crisis in New York, y'all. I want to know your thoughts. Thank you so much for taking time to watch the video and continuing to support me here on the channel. See y'all in the next video.